Okay, so we will continue talking about our father Abraham, like we started last couple of times, and we will continue from Genesis 14. So last couple of times actually, we spoke about Abraham and Lot, and how Lot chose for himself, Abraham did not, and we saw what was the consequence for each one. Now, right after this in Genesis 14, we hear about a story that when Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain next to Sodom and Gomorrah, there was a war between the kings of that part, that region, and the kings of the east. So it looks like the kings of the east had the upper hand and they subdued them. The kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were supposed to uh, give them, pay taxes and everything to them, and then they stopped. So the kings of the east came and they started fighting with them. And they, like we read in Genesis 14, verse 12, they also took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Then one who escaped and came and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and they were allies with Abram. Now when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his own house and went in pursuit as far as them. So here we see the first thing that Abraham did, that um, he did not say, Lot was the one that made a mistake, he didn't respect me, so let him deal with the consequences of his mistakes, or he didn't have any grudge or hatred toward Lot. He actually, once he heard that Lot was in trouble, the first thing that he remembered, like we read in the verse we just read now, that his brother was taken. When Abram heard that his brother was taken captive. What does this mean? That, remember the first time we talked about this story and we said that Abraham set a rule in our relationships. He told Lot, we are brethren, let's not fight together, let's not have a strife between us, because we are brethren. So the most important thing before and after what happened in the mind of Abraham, in the heart of Abraham, was that they were brothers. And here we see how noble Abraham was, that he took the men of his house. The men of his house, by the way, are not like soldiers, they are not like trained to fight in wars, but he didn't think about that either. He said they were trained to maybe defend themselves. So he took them all, 318, and went and pursued the kings that took Lot captive in order to fight with them. Something against all logic is for someone to take, his servants and go fight 4 kings with their soldiers. So this is what he did. He said he divided his forces against them by night, and he and his servants attacked them and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. So he wasn't, settled until he went and he freed Lot from the kings that took him captive. So this shows us how noble and how loving Abraham was. And anyone in his place would have not really even thought about this as an option, that he would go and fight 4 kings to save his brother. On top of that, his brother is the one that was his nephew, that maybe he thought he didn't respect him, that, chose for himself, that didn't want Abraham to have the bigger land, and so on. So, sometimes or many times we have a lot of excuses not to offer love to other people. But Abraham, in this case, he teaches us a big lesson, that he didn't think about anything except that he wanted to offer love to Lot. And he wasn't going to be, he wasn't going to relax until he knew that Lot was safe and came back to his house. The other thing in this story is after he came back. It says, and the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh after his return from the defeat of Kedorlaomer and the kings who were with him. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was the priest of God Most High. On his way back, he saw two kings, like we just read. The king of Sodom, that's the king that he actually brought back like all the belongings to, and then King Melchizedek. And King Melchizedek, as we can talk about him another time, but he was a symbol of Christ, because we don't hear about any beginning, any end, and it looks like St. Paul explains to us in the Epistle to the Hebrews that he was greater than Abraham, because he blessed Abraham, he gave him the bread and wine, and Abraham actually gave him tithe of everything that he has. But the point that we want to think about next is in verse 21. Now the king of Sodom said to Abram, give me the persons and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand to the Lord, God Most High, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will take nothing from a thread to a sandal strap, and that I will not take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. So this is, the big thing that Abraham did. The king of Sodom met him, and, Abraham fought for him and brought everything back to him, brought the people back safely and brought the money and the goods. So the king of Sodom told him, take the people and take the money and give me the people. So Abraham said, I don't want anything from you. You take the money and you take the people. Why? He said, I don't take anything except from my God. And then he said, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. So you see, this chapter has a couple of things about how noble Abraham was. First, in rescuing his nephew Lot, regardless of what he did to him before. And second, in not accepting anything from people, because he said, lest that person would say, I have made Abraham rich. As if Abraham is teaching us a lesson. The only one that we should depend on to make us rich, and of course not just rich in money, I'm talking about like any kind of richness, is God himself. If we depend on anyone else to make us rich, like, giving us wealth, or rich in emotions, rich in anything, we will actually not have that richness at the end, because the only richness comes from God. والتأمل بالعربي. النهارده في إصحاح 14 بنكمل قصة إبراهيم ولوط. لوط بعد ما سكن في مدن السهل اللي هي جنب سدوم وعمورة، جم 4 ملوك من الشرق وحاربوا الملوك بتوع سدوم وعمورة وسابوا الناس كلهم، ومنهم لوط وعيلته. فجه واحد من الناس اللي نجوا، واحد من العبيد أو الخدام اللي نجوا من الحرب، وقال لإبراهيم لوط اتسبى هو وعيلته. فراح إبراهيم بيقول ان هو خد ال 318، كان عنده 318 يعني خادم في البيت بتاعه، بيقول كان مدربين، طبعا مش مدربين الحرب، ان هم مش جنود يعني، لكن خدهم وراح ورا ال4 ملوك دول عشان يحاربوا. فطبعا حاجه يعني مش لا تعقل، يعني ان واحد ياخد الخدام بتوعه ويجري ورا 4 ملوك عشان يحاربهم. بس ابراهيم ما كانش بيفكر كده، هو كان كل اللي بيفكر فيه ان هو ينقذ لوط. وده يبين لنا قد ايه الشهامة اللي كانت عند إبراهيم، إن هو مهما حصل لوط ده أخوه وهو رايح عشان ينقذه، وممكن إن هو يعني يحط نفسه في خطر بسبب الموضوع ده، إن هو رايح يحارب ملوك وجيش كسب 5 ملوك اللي هم بتوع سدوم وعمورة والمدن اللي جنبهم، لكن هو ما فكرش في كده، كل اللي كان بيفكر فيه إن هو ينقذ لوط. في السكة هو راجع، هو انتصر وخد يعني رجع لوط وكل الاملاك بتاعته وكل الناس بتوع سدوم الاملاك بتاعتهم. في السكه هو راجع قابل 2 ملوك، قابل ملك سدوم وقابل ملك اسمه ملكي صادق اللي هو ملك سليم، او بعد كده يعني بقت اورشليم. وعارفين ان ملكي صادق ده يعني ملك السلام، ملك البر، اللي هو رمز المسيح، اللي هو ملوش بدايه ايام ولا نهايه، زي ما القديس بولس بيشرح في رساله الابراج. لكن الموقف بتاع ملك سدوم هو يعني عايزين نقف عنده شويه. ان ملك سدوم راح قال له ايه؟ يعني ملك سدوم كان فرحان بيه جدا، فقال له خد انت كل الممتلكات. في آية 21 قال ملك سدوم لأبرام أعطيني النفوس وأما الأملاك فأخذها لنفسي. قال له يعني اديني الناس وكل الممتلكات انت ممكن تاخدها. فراح ابراهيم قال له رفعت يدي الى الرب الاله العلي مالك السماء والارض. يعني قال له انا ما ببصش للناس عشان اتغني منهم، ما ببصش غير للسماء، ما ببصش غير لربنا. فبيقول لا اخذن لا خيطا ولا شراك نعل ولا من كل ما هو لك، فلا تقول انا اغنيت ابرام. فبيقول ان ابراهيم ما رضاش ياخد منه فلوس خالص، قال انا ما باخدش حاجه غير من ايد ربنا، لا احسن تقول انا اغنيت ابراهيم. طبعا لما نطبق الموقف ده على يعني حياتنا، ان زي ان احنا مش المفروض ان احنا نبص للناس انها تشبعنا، سواء يعني من اي نوع، شبع من اي نوع مش بس فلوس يعني، لكن دايما يبقى مصدر الشبع بتاعي ربنا. يعني في اي حاجه انا محتاجها بروح لربنا، لاني لما بروح للناس في الاخر ما بلاقيش حاجه. يعني بلاقي ان ممكن زي كده ابراهيم بيقول واحد يفتكر يعني ان هو اداني وان هو عمل لي، لكن في الاخر محدش يقدر يعمل لي حاجه. فهنا يعني موقفين حلوين يا ريت نتامل فيهم في وقت الخلوه بتاعنا، ان هو ازاي ان ابراهيم ما كانش عنده اي عداوه في قلبه، حتى لو واحد غلط فيه او يعني ما عملوش كويس، يعني هو بيحب لدرجه ان هو راح وحارب علشان، او حط نفسه في خطر عشان ينقذه. والموقف الثاني ازاي ان ابراهيم كان بياخد كل حاجه من ايد ربنا. عشان كده هنلاقي في الاصحاح اللي جاي على طول بسبب الموقف ده، بسبب ان ابراهيم قال كده، راح ربنا قال له لا تخف انا ترس لك واجرك كثير جدا. نتكلم على الحكايه دي المره الجايه، بس يعني ابراهيم بيعلمنا ازاي ان احنا نتكل على ربنا عشان كل حاجه محتاجينها. بإلهنا المجد دائما أبديا. طيب نخلص الكونتمبليشن دلوقتي، والساعه 8 في البايبل ستادي العربي.